There's a ton of research showing that there are huge benefits to both your mental and your physical health when you truly forgive yourself for the decisions your previous self made. So, self-forgiveness it's really crucial to a life of connection and well-being. I want to say this too. It's not just your own well-being that's affected when you can forgive yourself, because carrying around guilt, shame, and regret, any of those, is a complete relationship killer. When Whenever we believe these negative things about ourselves, we go into relationships feeling less than, not worthy of love from a partner, or not worthy of that promotion at work, something like that. Because, we're putting out this energy of being an imposter, of being less than. And, I've talked about it a lot. Other people pick up on our energy, and we end up attracting predators, bad bosses, people who try to take advantage of us. It happens. And I'll repeat this here, which I've said many times in the podcast. There's incredible research by Timothy Wilson showing that our conscious brains process information at a rate of 40 bits per second, while our unconscious or subconscious brains process information at a rate of 11 million bits per second. And that is how people pick up, when we talk about, some people are like, I don't believe in law of attraction. That's ridiculous. And I'm not saying it's as simple as it's been made out to be, the law of attraction, but in some ways it is. But it's grounded by science. Like, there's science behind this. There is a way. You have walked into a room, maybe you had a new boss, or there's a person at a party, and you got a bad feeling. They were saying all the right things. They had a big smile on their face, and the whole time you're like, ick. It is because of those 11 million bits. The 40 bits were them talking to you and you talking to them and maybe smiling back, all the conscious stuff. But that 11 million is picking up on other things. And people pick it up from you also. And that is how we start attracting icky people into our lives. And then we think, oh, all people are icky. See, I'm a piece of shit. So I don't deserve anything. And see, look, I have proof because of these horrible people in my life. But I say this with love, you're part of co-creating that. So when you shift and forgive yourself and let go of past regrets and truly, truly forgive yourself, your energy starts to shift. That 11 million bits starts to shift. And then different people are attracted. Just like at that party or at work, when you have that icky person, you don't hang around with them. You're like, oh, I don't get a good feeling from them. And you walk away. Well, guess what? The other thing happens. There's somebody that you feel attracted to, or there's something there. And people start to have that with you as you build up these pieces within yourself. So I want to be clear that forgiving yourself is it's just everything. It's such a big deal. And when it comes to forgiving ourselves, in my work, I've been doing this about 40 years now. There are two major categories that I see when we're trying to forgive, when my clients are trying to forgive themselves. And the first category are things that are more tangible. Someone cheated on their partner. They stole at work. They're yelling, they've yelled at their mom. I had someone who drove drunk and hurt someone. These are all things that seem objectively to be wrong or bad, although to what degree is up for interpretation. But there are things, right, that you can sort of go, oh, I did this thing. I yelled at my mom. That's never good. How do I forgive myself for acting this way with her? Whatever. Obviously, my client who hurt someone drunk driving, huge, right? That's wow. So yeah, objectively, you're going to look and go, wow, that's not an okay thing. You still need to forgive yourself somewhere for that. But the second category I see are events or issues that you perceive as bad that are really regrets. So those are things like, maybe you dropped out of high school. Maybe you stayed in an unhealthy relationship for too long. You didn't freeze your eggs when you were younger, or maybe you smoked when you were pregnant. The problem with these regrets is that you can't forgive yourself for having ever made these decisions. So they really play like a bad movie over and over again in your head, and that becomes something different. So I did an episode a while back called Regret Sucks, the 3-step process to make it stop. I want to be clear that I did a whole thing on that. Here, if you are noticing it's more about regrets you have, not that if you smoked when you were pregnant, you wouldn't feel regretful about it. But there's a difference between you dropped out of school and made a decision at the time with the tools you had. Do you know what I mean? Or you didn't finish your education, sorry, when you were like 17. It's different because you didn't necessarily do anything quote unquote bad. You just did this thing that maybe wasn't a great choice at the time. There's a different way your brain lumps those things. We can't move forward if we're still living in our past, and we can't change the past. You're not Superman. You can't spin the world to back up. So this also means you might think that your event, your thing is bigger than someone else's thing. So you have more of a right or even an obligation not to forgive yourself. It's like, oh no, I hurt someone drunk driving. Like I can never forgive myself. I'm allowed to never forgive myself for that. I'm not saying I don't want you to forget it, because you did. You hurt someone. Something happened. I get it. It's not about forgetting. It's about forgiving. It's about finding a space of compassion for this where you can at least move forward, because you still have to move forward in your life. We can't have all of our lives boiled down to one decision that we made or two decisions that we made. So now other people might not forgive you. That's different. You can't force someone else to forgive you, but there's something different when you forgive yourself. It doesn't mean, again, that you might not want to make amends. And I actually think as I'm forgiving myself, it's when I really do want to make amends to other people that are real, that aren't me coming from just the fear and the upset, but from a place of love and true understanding of what I did, truly getting and what has happened when I've apologized from those places is people can, again, that 11 million bits, people can feel that how bad I feel, how much I wish this didn't happen, and how much I take responsibility for it, for what responsibility is different than blame. So when we take responsibility, it's something else. Responsibility means that, I'm responsible for this decision I made, and then we take action to never make that decision again. My client has done many things to not drink and drive again. Uh, and to make sure that never happens again. You can't guarantee things, obviously, but you can put a lot of things in place, and you can do a lot of work to make a different future where future decisions are different. When you're just in, I'm a piece of crap and I'll never amount to anything, you don't make any changes. You're not really doing anything to better yourself. And to me, that's not really coming to peace with what you might have done, because there's no action involved. There's just victim stuff. And so we can't do anything from there. So I believe if you really want to work on forgiveness, even of other people to you, but of just truly a thing you did, you have to have self-forgiveness so that you can move forward and be different moving forward. If someone does something bad, icky to me, and then says, oh, sorry, but then does it again, I don't think they're very sorry. When someone says, right, it's the behavior that happens after that makes you go, oh, this person really is sorry and they're really doing something, right? Isn't that the truth? And that's what self-forgiveness gives us. When we do that, we actually have different action on the other side, which takes us to another place. I hope that makes sense to you. It's very important to separate these things out and to really understand what I'm saying. Otherwise, and I've heard it all. I've heard you. I sit in my office with you. I know, or on Zoom now. Yeah, but Abby, oh, but what I did. Oh, please, just stop. Just stop. It's just, you're being a victim, and it's sort of like, instead of really being sorry, you're just being a victim. And we all know that when someone acts victimized, when they've hurt us, it doesn't feel like we really want to forgive them, right? Well, that's what you're doing. When you refuse to move forward from the place you're in, because you just can't let it go, that's what you're doing. So there is no forgiveness anywhere, not in like the universe or greater world, not with the other person, not with yourself if it's just a decision that affected yourself. But trust me, if you dropped out of school and that's all you talk about is how much you regret that and what was I thinking and that was so stupid, or you got a degree in something you don't use now, what a waste of money, what was I thinking, I was so stupid, and that's what you talk about and that's what you present and that's where you are in the world, it's not fun to be around you. It doesn't feel good. You're looking for me to tell you it's okay, and I'm not going to. Move on. Move the fuck on. I'm sorry I know sometimes there's young people listening. Excuse me. But sometimes I have to swear to like really, because I don't do it a lot, to really get your attention that this is something, yeah, God, I'm